Meanwhile, let's turn to Lane Mendelsohn. He's the president of VantagePoint Software. Lane, let's talk about Tesla. What is going on with them? Not only is their company acting sort of shady, but their CEO, he's in a lot of hot water as well.
Hi, Shana. Well, this is not the first time that the CEO has had some public spats on Twitter. You'll remember that he was publicly spatting with some short sellers on Twitter earlier this year, had some back and forth regarding a previous earnings call. And yeah, this is just another instance where people are kind of questioning, why is he acting in this fashion? And it may actually be hurting the company, not from a profitability standpoint or as it relates to the products that they're producing, but just in terms of how the leader at the helm is conducting business. And that's always a concern as a trader and investor. You're looking for solid companies with solid leadership.
Right, and that leaked memo about them asking for a discount from suppliers also causing a lot of investors to shake their head. Let's move to Google now. Company's doing great. I mean, record profits, everything is good. But I'm just curious. So they were hit by a $5 billion fine by the EU. It doesn't seem to have much of an impact. Does the EU have to fine them even more to actually make them feel the pinch?
Well, you have to realize that, Google is such a large company. Yes, there was a fine that they were slapped with. Obviously, I think they're going to probably try to contest that. You also had a tightening up of some of the privacy policies in the EU that a lot of people thought would have a dramatic negative impact on the company and on the stock. Neither of those two things really had much of any impact on Google, and I think that's really a testament to the strong company that Google has become over the decades and how it's diversified. I mean, it's not just a search company. It's a search, it's a media, it's getting into autonomous vehicles, artificial intelligence. My company's been involved with artificial intelligence for 30 years. This is the future, and Google has planted themselves right in the middle of that. So they have become a global force and a diversified force. And short term, our predictive algorithms are forecasting Google to continue going up. And I think that using our artificial intelligence technology, it will continue to go up. And I think that we'll probably see in the next 12 to 18 months, Google has, it's already hit an all-time high. I think we're looking at $1,500, $1,600, $1,700 a share in the near future.
Wow, that's remarkable. Now, you mentioned Google is becoming a media company. They're throwing all this money now for content. So is Apple, so is Amazon, so is Hulu. Where does that place Netflix? I know that they just announced that the people subscribing is actually lower than expected.
Well, I think right now, Netflix has a lot of options. If they just went to all the subscribers and raised it by $1 or $2, they could immediately start to generate additional income. That's not their strategy right now. Right now, the strategy that Netflix has and it's employing, I think, very successfully is continuing to try to gain market share, not just domestically, but also internationally. Look, if you had a half of India was to subscribe to Netflix, what would that do to Netflix as a company? So they've really focused on growing their market share, but I think very intelligently, they realize that we're in a global economy and that they need to look beyond the U.S. and they need to grow their share internationally as well, which they're doing. And if you look at the earnings report, it came in, less than desirable. This is not the first time this has happened. This has happened in the past, but if you look at every other time in the past where something came out that was less than desirable, Netflix seems to always bounce back. So I think that's what people are really looking for.
Let's not forget they're almost $30 billion in debt, so that's something to watch out for as well. Lane Mendelsohn, great to have you on the show.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on.